Colorado's top Democrats sidestep or ignore our questions about whether President Biden is fit to serve as president after what America witnessed on the debate stage. The wife of an unarmed man killed by Aurora police sits down for her first interview, telling our Steve Staker she wants to see the video to know what happened. Colorado is outsourcing its crisis line. The new folks in charge tell us they plan to drastically reduce staffing, but will hire some Coloradans.
Yeah, it's critical for us to hire local because we only know so much.
And a graduation dream deferred, now reality, for people who went to MSU Denver, including a very talented colleague of ours here at Next. Some of Colorado's top Democrats say they will stick with President Joe Biden if he decides to stay in the race after that disastrous debate performance that reinforced concerns about the president's mental function and ability to do the job. But Colorado's most prominent Democrats would not agree to come on this program tonight to discuss what we all witnessed last night. President Biden fumbling, foggy, unsure, unable to articulate basic arguments. And many of those same Democrats would not directly answer whether they believe that Joe Biden has the cognitive ability to do the job for another 4 years.
And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
Confusion on the debate stage from President Biden, concern behind the scenes from his supporters. We asked Colorado's top Democrats two questions. Do they have full confidence in President Biden's cognitive abilities to perform the duties of president today and for another 4 years? And do they believe President Biden should remain the Democratic nominee for president? Not one of them was willing to sit down and discuss that. A no from Governor Jared Polis, no's from Senators John Hickenlooper and Michael Bennet, no's from Congresswoman Diana DeGette, Yadira Caraveo, and Brittany Pedersen, and no's from Congressman Jason Crow and Colorado Democratic Party Chairman Shad Murab. Congressman Joe Neguse did not respond. Polis sent a statement saying that Biden is the Democratic nominee unless he and Jill decide otherwise, adding that he'd take Biden on a bad night over the dangers of Trump. Senator Hickenlooper did directly answer one question, saying Biden has his full confidence, before hedging that he'll support Biden if he chooses to remain in the race. Senator Bennet sent a statement that didn't answer the questions about Biden's mental state and future, questions that we have asked Bennet for years. This is from 2022.
Do you have any concerns about his physical or mental ability to do the job for another 6 years?
I don't know.
If he asked you whether he should run again, what would you tell him?
I'd tell him it's up to him. He's earned that right. There's nobody else who's proved they can beat Donald Trump.
Representative Crow sent a statement dodging the question, saying the president had a tough night, but we don't make decisions off one debate. Representatives Caraveo and Pedersen and the Colorado Democratic Party did not answer questions about Biden's future. Representative Diana DeGette issued the strongest defense, saying in a statement that Biden's bounce-back rally showed that he does have the mental and physical ability for another 4 years.
I give you my word as a Biden, I would not be running again if I didn't believe with all my heart and soul I can do this job.
Former President Barack Obama is leading Democrats' defense of President Biden today, posting on social media, "Bad debate nights happen, trust me, I know." He's talking about his debate here in Denver at DU back in 2012. A lot has changed in American politics since then, including apparently what constitutes a bad debate night. Because in 2012, what you're about to hear was considered a disaster for Obama. Critics said he was too serious, too defensive, uncomfortable. Contrast that with what happened to Biden.
The idea of cutting $716 billion from Medicare to be able to balance the additional cost of Obamacare is, in my opinion, a mistake.
Mr. President.
First of all, I think it's important for Governor Romney to present this plan that he says will only affect folks in the future. And the essence of the plan is that he would turn Medicare into a voucher program. It's called premium support.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Bad debate night in 2012, bad debate night 2024. No doubt the Biden team is going to wait to see whether his debate performance actually moves polling numbers or whether voters had already priced in that he's showing signs of decline. After Obama's rough night in Denver in 2012, he tanked in the polls for about a month until the next debate. Who would want to see the act of violence that takes their loved one's life? Kylin Lewis wants to see what happened when Aurora police shot her husband, Kylin Lewis, while he was on his knees. She says Aurora police haven't showed her the full body camera video. In her first interview, she told our Steve Steger she wants to see what happened leading up to the shooting and what happened in the moments after.
I feel like it's the last little bit I can hold on to.
That heart around Kylin Lewis's neck is made from the remains of a man she misses deeply.
He was a great husband, father, brother, son, uncle. He was a helping person.
Kylin was with her husband, Kylin, on May 23rd when he dropped her off to go hang out with a friend.
The last thing he said was, "I love you." I never thought this would ever happen to me. I never thought I would lose my husband to the police.
Around 11:30 that morning, Kylin Lewis was stormed by an Aurora police SWAT team in unmarked trucks with a warrant. 7 seconds after those cops rush out of their trucks, Lewis was on the ground, bleeding from a gunshot wound to the stomach.
He starts screaming, "I ain't got nothing, I ain't got nothing, I ain't got nothing." He said it 3 times. He's backing up because he turned around and he sees 4 cops with guns in his face. So, of course, naturally, he got a little shook up, and he has his phone in his hand, and he puts his hands up, and he starts going down towards his knees. Like you can see, he starts complying.
Lewis took several steps and placed his right hand behind his back.
Aurora Police Chief Heather Morris says Officer Michael Deek saw an object in Lewis's hand and fired 1 shot. He died 3 days later in the hospital.
I did not see a justifiable shooting by a highly experienced, heavily armored, heavily trained SWAT team officer from the Aurora Police Department.
Lewis's attorney, Ed Hopkins, says Kylin was doing what he was told. His hands in the air, beginning to kneel to the ground, not pointing that phone in his hand at anyone.
I'm about as confident as anybody else who's had a gun pointed to their face that he couldn't have done anything better.
And both Hopkins and his client have questions about the portions of the video that haven't been released yet, especially the moments after, when the chief says officers rushed to help Kylin.
We think with a wound like that, if you have competent medical people there, you can save that man's life.
But the biggest question on this widow's mind is, will she see justice?
This officer just killed somebody. And, okay, let me take his gun and his badge. Probably watching me on TV with your feet kicked up. Paid. His rent is paid. He's eating. He's talking to his family. He's talking to his wife and kids, probably. Kylin can never do that. And you guys need to feel my pain.
Spokesman for APD disputed one claim here and told us late this afternoon that the family was given the opportunity to view the video of the life-saving measures, but declined to watch it. They say the law only requires them to release video depicting the death, and that any other unedited video will be released when it can be during the investigation. The 18th Judicial District DA is investigating the shooting, and Aurora PD says there's also an ongoing internal affairs investigation. Officer Michael Deek is on paid administrative leave as all of that is going on, Kyle.
I think this case just speaks to the fact that anybody can have an interaction with law enforcement. And I think people think, if I just do what they tell me to, it's going to be okay. And what you see appears to be a man doing exactly what he was told.
It's a tough situation because you think about you all of a sudden have all these people surrounding you and kind of yelling at you, giving you what sounds like different commands. At one officer we hear saying hands, hands, hands. The other officer saying on the ground, on the ground, on the ground, trying to do all of those things together. And it ends up like this.
All right. Thank you for continuing to follow this, Steve. Appreciate it. Colorado's crisis hotline is still seeing record numbers of calls, but the state is trimming the hotline's budget, choosing to go with an out-of-state company to handle the 988 line to save money. Our Evan Krugel talked with that company's CEO today about how they plan to help Coloradans in crisis from Arizona.
Colorado's 988 crisis line is busier than ever, with more than 1,200 calls every day from people in need of help. But these call takers at Rocky Mountain Crisis Partners will soon be out of a job after the state awarded the contract to a new company named Solari.
The most that I can ask for is to give us a shot.
That's Solari CEO Justin Chase, hopping on an interview with us from Tempe, Arizona, where the company is based. An out-of-state selection that raised concern from current 988 call takers we spoke with last month.
What does it say to Colorado that you're going to lay off 330 people that work in a nonprofit sector and then outsource millions of dollars of taxpayer money to another state? I don't think that sends the right message. Mental health is not a place where we should be cutting corners.
The state will save about $4 million with the move and says it chose Solari because it received the highest score in the evaluation process.
Solari says they're planning to have a physical call center here in Denver, and they're hoping to hire back about 180 of those call takers who are about to be laid off.
Yeah, it's critical for us to hire local because we only know so much. You know, when we're talking about situations and geography on the Western Slope is very, very different than what you would see in Metro Denver. And so we're very in tune to that.
And while the staff may be smaller, Solari says it's confident it can meet the growing demand.
We're confident also that with the staffing level that we're proposing to bring is sufficient for where we are today. But as call volume continues to grow, we will absolutely increase staffing as needed to continue to meet the needs in Colorado.
For Next, I'm Evan Krugel.
Some of my favorite examples of your incredible generosity through Word of Thanks are when you step in to help a community finish a project that they have worked hard on for years. It's when a bunch of Coloradans from all over come together to make a dream a reality in somebody else's corner of our state. That's what you're doing with this week's Word of Thanks micro-giving campaign for the nonprofit Veterans Community Project in Longmont. 6 small houses are already built, already offering a place to live for homeless veterans and their families. And there are added wraparound services to address whatever challenges that veteran has to help them find a stable path forward in life. Now they're in the final push to build 20 more homes on the site so they can help dozens of veterans a year stabilize their lives. Longmont's Veterans Community Project opened last year, and a veteran just moved out for the first time. Success in a lot less time than predicted. And other veterans are there working on their own personal roads to recovery. So now's this final effort to build out the rest of the homes for vets. And there's a matching gift that means that the $20,000 you've raised in just a couple of days has been doubled to $40,000. And anything we give now will be doubled too. Scan that QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to get that link to join me and a bunch of others in making a donation that will be doubled. Close to 3,000 of you have signed up to simplify your giving with a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. And that has meant that we've started your recent micro-giving campaigns with almost $20,000 in donations each week. You can use that same QR code or text to get there. A Supreme Court ruling today could upend some criminal cases against Coloradans who stormed the Capitol on January 6th. And our favorite Friday tradition around here is sharing your good news. Well, this week, we have some good news that just so happens to involve one of our own. The Supreme Court handed down a decision today limiting the use of a felony obstruction charge against some of the people charged for the January 6th insurrection. In a 6-3 decision, the court ruled that the federal charge of obstructing an official proceeding can only be brought against people who tried to tamper with or destroy documents on January 6th. It's been rarely used so far. The Associated Press estimates fewer than 200 Capitol insurrection defendants have been convicted on that charge. It does include, however, 2 of Colorado's most high-profile insurrection defendants. Former Olympic swimmer Cleet Keller was sentenced to 6 months of home detention last year after pleading guilty to obstructing an official proceeding. All the other charges against him were dropped as part of the plea deal. And Jeffrey Sabol from Kittredge was sentenced to more than 5 years in prison. He dragged a police officer down the steps and into the mob. Even if his obstruction charge was dropped, Sabol was also convicted on 2 other felonies, including assaulting an officer.
Temperatures today, even with limited sunshine, back in the mid-90s. Not the record of 105, but 96 degrees in Denver, 100 in Lamar, 91 in Greeley. But there's a cool front on the way, and that cool front is going to usher in a cooler air mass tonight. We'll be tracking some isolated thunderstorms coming off the foothills tonight with a bit of wind and lightning, but not a lot of rain. We're at that marginal risk for storms that could have hail and wind, but the greater focus will be later tonight out on the northeastern plains of Colorado. So So basically a partly cloudy night. Storms will be windy and have again that lightning potential. When the front comes in around midnight, there may be some overnight rain showers. Tomorrow's going to be a whole lot cooler, a one-day reprieve from the heat as temperatures this afternoon drop out of the 90s into the 80s around dinner time. Your extended forecast, how about a high of 83 on Saturday? But scattered afternoon storms are likely and they'll linger late into the day. Isolated storms Sunday with highs in the mid-90s, Monday mid-90s, and then we have warm, dry weather forecast for the upcoming holiday, but Mother Nature may have some fireworks of her own planned for the 4th.
So we end each week around here with something personal, something meaningful in the lives of Coloradans. This week, it is dozens of former college students finally getting to graduate, including one member of our next team. Celebrating graduation is automatic good news, even if it's been delayed by a bit or a lot. New program in Colorado is going back and correcting the record for students who ended their college careers just shy of the finish line, like Next longtime video editor Jeff Sawtelle.
Nasir Abdi. This is a historic moment, as the ones we are honoring today are the first to receive an associate's degree from MSU Denver under the Colorado Reengaged Initiative. Judah James.
There were a lot of big grins the other day. That was one of the most fun things about it, is that was a pretty ebullient group that we had go across the stage.
Jose Sanchez.
The law says if they've been stopped out in the past 10 years, we need to go, look and see if they would be eligible to get an associate's degree with at least 70 credits and at least 18 from us. And so that's what we did.
Jeffrey Sawtelle.
I knew Jeff had I knew about his background in television production. I knew that when he came here, he had this intention of, I'm going to try and get this, bachelor's degree done. And then I know he took a number of classes with us. I know he got busy with other things in life, and I know that he had more than 70 credits. So it was nice to see him go across the stage, because it was like, okay, this is a great example of what we're talking about.
Jeff and I have worked together for 17 years. And at this point, we've kind of moved past spoken language. I'll have an idea. I'll walk up to him and I'll say, I'm thinking about a thing with like a thing and a thing and a thing and a thing. And I haven't really said anything. And he just goes, yeah, I got it.
Geoff, you are our editing guru, my graphics master. Congratulations. This is a great achievement. And that photo that I've seen of you in the crowd smiling, hands down, get that framed and put on your wall.
It's so cool to see Jeff accomplish the thing that he has wanted to accomplish the entire 10 years that I have known him. Jeff, congratulations.
Jeffrey Sawtelle.
I love it. For years, when I go to speak at MSU Denver, I tell them, one of your graduates is one of the best employees in our newsroom, and now I won't be lying anymore, because you are, in fact, an MSU Denver graduate. Congratulations. You're the stinking best. We have feedback next. Folks are not pleased with me tonight. Some form of the same feedback from Susan, John, James, Kay, Faye, Bob, Nancy, Sally, who writes, I understand that Biden had a very bad night, but why focus only on him as opposed to Trump's lies and so forth? If you watch Next, you know that for years we have questioned Colorado Republicans about Donald Trump's policies and about his incessant lying. And when we have asked Colorado Republicans to account for that, we have not allowed them to change the subject or insert false balance by saying, what about this about Joe Biden? What we saw last night from the president is a real issue and deserves real scrutiny, not whataboutism.